This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning to you. You made it on into your Thursday, although I feel like today should be a Saturday almost. I don't know what it is. Let me also turn myself up. Whoop. There we go. Hopefully that sounds a little better. A little more. You can hear me a little more, I guess, so to speak. Anyways, Matthew's landscape camera looking out towards Bossier and Shreveport. It's kind of a gloomy day, honestly. It hasn't gotten me in the, I don't know, just the optimistic mood here for this morning. You could say the same across the entire region. Here's a look at Texarkana, where we can actually see our Texarkana camera finally. Earlier, it was just completely gray when we had our foggy skies around the Arklatex this morning, and it was, man, it's been misty, muggy. It's been a whole lot of everything that your First Alert weather app couldn't even tell you on the radar. You looked at the radar this morning, and we're like, oh, I'm in the clear. There's no rain out today. Well, you were in for a surprise if you did that. Because, again, you walked out to mist, cloudiness, fogginess, mugginess. It was all on the table this morning. Kind of made it to, even I said this on air, I'm usually a proponent of all weather here, and I usually do that here at KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Breakdown. But this morning, just bleh. Yuck. If you're a fan, I'm sorry. Let me know if you are a fan, but that's just my thoughts anyways on it. Anyways, welcome. First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. I hope you've been having a fantastic day so far. Fantastic morning. It's 10:30. It's First Alert Weather Breakdown time. Man, I started off first thing, though, by saying I really feel like today is Saturday. My goodness. For a number of reasons. Number one, I just wish it was Saturday, period. I don't know what it was. I think it was the fact that the first 2 days of the work week, we hit the ground off running in the weather department because of First Alert weather days on both Monday and Tuesday. Then yesterday was all the election. On Tuesday night was all the election coverage, but for my shift in particular, since I'm on mornings, it was all the election after party show showing Trump won. It was all the election results and all of that on Wednesday and all the hype behind that. And then Thursday, it's kind of calmed back down just a little bit in both terms of the weather department and just in terms of the newsroom too. And just getting through all that, I guess, hectic environment, it's good. It gets me going. I love the adrenaline rush. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I should be on the weekend right now. But I guess in a way it kind of feels like Saturday. I'll give you a preview actually here right now. I will be filling in actually on Saturday. CJ Cartledge will be out this coming Saturday. Props to him also. He did First Alert Weather Breakdown for me a couple Thursday or Fridays ago. It was a span of 2 days I was out. And I guess you could call this repaying the favor a little bit. I'll be filling in for him this coming Saturday on one of the Saturday shows, which is actually only one that is covered. I'll be providing web updates and article updates throughout the day, though, on Saturday this weekend. So you can look forward to that coming on. And Saturday is actually a pretty big day because it will be raining on this coming Saturday, most likely. So I'll get to be able to track that and help you guys meander through your day on Saturday to be able to dodge some of those rain showers. All right, so let's take a look at what we're talking about here for today. We're talking about cloudy weather leading to rain, widespread and scattered rain coming back here, mainly on Saturday. We'll get into the nitty-gritty details coming up on that, and we'll look at the future track coming up in our local forecast, which is basically the first thing we do here at First Alert Weather Breakdown. Also, we're going to be talking about November severe weather in a Met Chat. For those of you who don't know what a Met Chat is, it is where all four meteorologists, it's not just me, it is all four meteorologists come together and have a chat once a week, essentially, on this weather podcast. So all four of us, all four meteorologists, as a part of the KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather team, including CJ, Austin, and Matt, will be on the Met Chat momentarily. That will be after a commercial break, which will be after this local forecast. Let's get straight into it because the Met Chat usually takes up a bulk of the time on this kind of podcast whenever we do that once a week. So let's get outside. Let's pull out my graphics here again. Whoop. There we go. And let's get into our forecast headlines for today. If you have any questions, youtube.com, KSLA News 12. That's our platform. That's where we are. That's how you communicate with me. And again, make this a two-way conversation. I can also answer any and all questions about the forecast and also about the Met Chat coming up, too. All right, so today, mostly cloudy in store for your Thursday, and we're just ramping in more and more moisture into the Arklatex in front of this next big rain maker here, which mainly comes Friday night in through Saturday morning. When I say Friday night, I'm talking mainly late night. Across mainly areas of eastern Texas. It's going to come from the west and swipe directly eastward throughout the Arklatex. Once we get rid of this rain, it looks like we'll have more of a substantial break. The break that we have now is, I'm not even sure if I call it a break. Tuesday, we dealt with the first alert weather day. We dealt with the scattered storms moving on through, some flash flooding threats and things like that before it cleared up Tuesday afternoon. Then we had a sunny day in for Wednesday, but then right back into cloud cover today, and that leads into rain again tomorrow night. So a very short break that we're on, and we're headed right back into the rain showers here in just a matter of a day or so. Again, heading into Friday night and through Saturday. But the point being is that I think once we get into Sunday, it'll rain a little bit on Sunday, but I think once we get into Monday, then we'll have more of a substantial break for everybody with some sunshine back out. Starting on Monday and continuing at least through a good portion of the first half of the work week. That'll be nice to enjoy. All right, that's a little synopsis of your forecast here. So let's get straight into it. Highs for today. Kind of a wide range of highs, lower 70s in for southwestern Arkansas, mid-70s, maybe upper 70s in for Shreveport. And then you got temperatures up to 80 degrees, 80 for Coshada. There's 82 behind Natchitoches, behind my head. 83 for Nacogdoches this afternoon, too. Here's what's happening. In order for us to clean up all of the moisture out from our last cold front, we needed a high pressure to come on in. That didn't happen. Instead, we had a low-pressure system that continues to meander across the southwest corner of the United States that continues to pump up Gulf moisture into the Arklatex. That led you to your misty, cloudy morning this morning, and it's going to nudge a little closer into the region here for tomorrow heading into Saturday morning, and just that simple nudge gets even more moisture into the region, enough to be able to provide those chances of rain, and a little cold front also coming on through. I want to stress little cold front. I'm not expecting a major temperature change with this system coming on through. We'll get to the temperatures coming up in a little bit. But that low pressure then moves finally out and away. And look what we're finally building in behind. High pressure. Granted, it's going to be a little weak, and it's not going to last too much longer, but at least comes in for a brief stop into the Arklatex to at least dry us out and fully give everybody sunshine here for again, the start to next work week. And watch out for that low-pressure system in the west there. That's going to look to possibly give us another chance of rain here next week. All right, so future track today, the rest of today. Not too many rain showers, but still, it's just going to be a little cloudy in for the rest of today. Maybe a 20% chance of a shower late tonight into the overnight hours. Then you get into Friday, starting out with the early morning hours, maybe a few chances at some good heavy downpours and few isolated storms in for eastern Texas, it looks like, for the most part. And some that could even carry on into the afternoon. You see the main line of storms slowly creeping in from the east. And then the later you get into Friday night, the more widespread this rain gets for us. You'll see some precursing showers that happen in front of the front in the overnight hours, and by the time we get in the first thing Saturday morning, it's pretty much everywhere. Now, granted, this line doesn't look to have as much of a severe weather threat as the last one did, especially when it comes to tornadoes. Flash flooding is still a possibility with this system, I will say, still moving on forward. But at least the tornado threat appears to be very, very slim, which is good news. Once we get into around, looks like 5, 6 a.m., which is as long as this goes, 5, 6 a.m., it looks like is the timetable for when this line comes on through Shreveport and most of northwest Louisiana. So, yeah, kind of a soaked Saturday morning. That'll leave into a few showers left for the afternoon, too, before even having a few more showers, especially across northwest Louisiana on Sunday. That's why we still have that 30% chance of rain there for you. All right, let's get into First Alert Tropics, and then we'll toss it to the 7-day forecast after this. We have Hurricane Rafael in the Gulf of Mexico. It's a Cat 2 at 100 miles an hour. This is continuing to move westward, and it's weakening, which is best news of all. And it's also appearing like it's going to take a southward turn towards Mexico rather than going northward. Kind of a good change for us in the trajectory of this long-term forecast cone, I will say. Regardless of where it's going, there's still some hope, and I wouldn't say hope, but there's still some intriguing little few models that still hint that this could maybe turn northward, I will say. It'll slow down enough in the Gulf of Mexico to where it still continues to harm it. If you notice, it has itself on a trajectory of where it continues to weaken and weaken and weaken over time in the Gulf of Mexico. That's because of two main reasons. One, it's November, and the Gulf of Mexico is much cooler than what it normally is, especially during the summer. And number two, we have lots and lots of wind shear coming with these persistent cold fronts coming across the continental United States, including across here in the Arctic. So that will also look to hurt this system, because the hurricane usually needs completely dry, I would say completely, I won't say completely dry conditions around it, but a calm atmosphere around it to be able to help itself out. All right, so 7-day forecast, 78 degrees here today. You got 20% rain chances into Friday before you have those scattered showers coming back in on Saturday. And then heading into next work week, looking a lot better, especially for Veterans Day. 80 degrees. Temperatures will be slightly warm and for the beginning of next week as well. 82 on Tuesday. And then a 20% rain chance on Wednesday with a high of 78. That's your forecast. I don't see anything on YouTube having any questions on this. But, yeah, that's a look at your local forecast. We're going to toss it over to the Met Chat after this. Again, we're examining why severe weather has been happening in November. Or, I mean, I guess it has been happening in November, but more in particular, why does it seem like November in the Arctic is one of the months where, one of the months that contains the most amount of severe weather? Why is it so prone to that? We'll examine everything around that, including getting a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Overview and review of the severe weather that came earlier this week as well. We'll talk about it coming up after this. I'll see you after that. Hello and welcome to First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason here with Matt Jones, CJ Cartledge, and Austin Evans, fresh off two First Alert weather days in a row on Monday and Tuesday. Just real quick before we get into our main topic here for today, what were your thoughts about all that? I mean, obviously we got buckets of rain here from the past couple of days. I think Texarkana set a new daily rainfall record as well for over 2 inches of rain on a single day for yesterday at the time of this recording. That was back on Tuesday. So, real quick, what are your thoughts about what happened, I guess, with the severe weather that recently rolled through?
I mean,
Yeah, I
Monday
mean,
was fairly eventful.
go ahead.
Monday was fairly eventful. Kind
Yeah, for
of
you
a,
and yeah,
I
especially
don't
for
want
you.
to. I don't want to say it was. I don't want to say surprise tornado warnings, but I was definitely thinking severe stuff would hang back until about 6, and it was about 4:30 when we got the
Mhm.
first severe warnings, and then eventually tornado warnings. So I mean, it was busy. Not abnormal for a severe weather day. It just got very hectic very fast, and then we were off to the races, and the poor folks of the Arctic had to hear me talk for an hour straight. So
Um, no, I think the timing was a little different than I expected. I thought it was gonna be more of that bigger line later at night, and it actually kind of ended up being, we had that big burst when, between 4 and 6 p.m., and then really nothing much for the rest of the night. I mean, we had some flash flood warnings, but it was pretty tame for the rest of the overnight hours. Yeah.
I was gonna say me and Matt got to high five each other because we
1
planned on
a.m.
it. We
Yeah,
high fived each other at 1 a.m. Go ahead, real quick about that.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, but the rainfall was interesting because like parts of the Arklatex really didn't have much at all. I mean, it was like either it had a ton or not much at all. So I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the drought update. I just don't know. We'll see.
It was a little interesting.
I'm interested to see it tomorrow and the next week because I don't know what. Okay, so they take the data on Tuesdays. We know that. I just don't know what time on Tuesdays that they take it down. So that's going to depend. So
We should
this
find
week's will
out.
be interesting from last week's rain, and then next week's will be interesting from this week's rain. I'm expecting improvements. So
Me too.
We'll see. Last thing about this is it was intriguing the risk threat on that day. There were tornado warnings on Tuesday in Alexandria and Lafayette. That kind of threw me off for just a little bit of a loop. I didn't expect the threat way down south of the Arctic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
did
that's
any
just
did any like actionable like SPC outlook make it that far? Like an enhanced.
It was
or-
I
marginal.
think it was
or whatever?
marginal.
Marginal.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes that happens.
that goes to show
Mhm.
you how important marginal can be. Just because it's very low means it doesn't mean that it still can't happen.
Yeah.
It's hey, weather don't care about the borders we draw on a map. So
No.
it's
Okay,
I someone who I can't remember who said that in college, but I'm like that stuck with me. We can draw as many fun shapes as we want. It's gonna do what it wants to do.
Yeah.
so that kind of leads us into our segment here for today. We're talking about why does severe weather seem to ramp up in November a little bit? I mean, it doesn't have to be November in particular, but it's just always around this time. And I guess select this month in particular. This is usually the month where severe weather comes back after we had all that severe weather run through in the spring. I think, Matt, one of the first things you told me when I first worked here as well is that severe weather just seems to come back in November. Why? Why is that the case? I think also, I'm not sure if you've been here the longest. All I know is I've been here the shortest amount of time.
Austin.
Austin. But what have you guys seen who have been here for at least a year? What have you seen that typically comes out of November, especially with severe weather?
Should I go first?
I can take it off the rip. I can say that a lot of the concept of fall severe weather not really new. It's I think if we were to, I haven't straight up just looked into the science of this specific topic all that much, but it's the changing of the seasons. Different air masses are starting to talk to each other again, and they're interchanging a lot of temperatures and whatnot. So that's why the severe threats ramp up. For us here in the Arklatex, a lot of fall severe season, in Illinois would start, maybe into September, October. In New York, kind of the same thing. In the places that I forecast, Kentucky as well. Here it is kind of later in the year, and we get into November, and we finally start to get rain again, and because usually August to October is very dry. So um, we're mixing air masses again. Things are moving in. We start to get cold fronts, and that's a big one. We start to get cold fronts. We never get fronts. Even in the spring, we don't get a whole lot of fronts. Those are usually discrete events. So um, lots of air mixing, and then the cold and the warm um, ends up creating issues for us. And there's a bunch of events to discuss with regards to fall and wintertime severe weather.
Yeah, and I'll let CJ get into detail too, because I know he's doing a story, actually a special story on this particular topic. But, um, it has Austin said, has to do with the cold fronts, but also has to do with the upper level jet stream, because in the summertime, those upper level winds kind of shift up into Canada. So I have storm chaser friends that will chase up in like Alberta. They'll go all the way up into Canada in August to find tornadoes, because that's where they are. They go, severe weather season kind of goes north during the summer and then goes back south as you get into the colder months, also because of that jet stream. So it kind of moves back into our area. So yeah, CJ, you want to touch on it?
Yeah, basically bouncing off what you guys said, it's just a clashing of air masses when we enter the more into November. I know actually once we hit the fall season, we were still pretty warm. Still felt like summertime. Highs were in the lower 90s, upper 80s. So we didn't actually feel like fall. Most of the northern months, northern states of the U.S. actually start to feel like fall because they're in the lower latitudes. We're more in the higher latitudes or close. Actually, no, it's a reverse. We're
Yeah.
actually they're in
Similar,
the
yeah.
higher latitudes, which is closer to the North Pole. We're closer to the equator, so we're going to be a little bit warmer. We expect the fall conditions to come a little bit later than everybody else up to the north. And mainly here for the architects in most of the southern states, we receive southerly flow a lot, which means a lot of instability coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. And when we get that long enough and then a flash of cool air runs in, that's when we get severe weather. And that's why in November, when we're finally starting to get cooler air here in the Arctics, highs in the 70s, 60-degree temperatures, lows in the 40s, that's when most of the severe weather happens, around that time, late October, early November, when that warm air mass or the warmer air is starting to turn to more cooler air. And by the time we hit maybe end of November, maybe early December, more into December, the severe weather will start to die down. So this is mainly our kind of prime time for the fall season in the southern United States for severe weather, similar to how maybe April or May would be for the primary severe weather season.
That makes sense, definitely. This one of the notes I definitely marked down was also a change in humidity, especially. I know most of summer we look forward to. Exactly, yeah. Humidity becomes desperately low during November, and it's the change to get there that these cold fronts help us to, I guess, create that change to help us get to those lowest humidity levels, not just lower on the few days of summer, so to speak. Also, one of the notes I wrote down is the first typical freeze happens during this month too, somewhere in the Arctic, which is.
I used to know. I bugged Jeff about that all the time, and I used to know it off the top of my head.
I do not know that.
I think the first freeze is typically like. I can't say the 13th. That's too early. I think
it's
there's three involved.
I think I just wrote down like the middle to late part of November, but yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't see it happening anytime soon. Not over the next 14 days.
No.
No. All of us collectively, no.
It'll be pretty warm. But yeah, if we have a graphic that I show sometimes on air that shows it's kind of interesting, shows our tornado averages each month. And there's definitely a peak in November. You see like a little peak in November. So yeah, it's just a month to watch out for.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. I think we hit all of our bases. Thank you very much for that. All right. So I think that turns to our trivia question. Dun dun dun. All right. Thank you for welcoming our contestants, our three contestants, back to Ask Latex. This is our weekly trivia game show.
Oh,
wait,
that name.
yes, it fits. It fits.
I
If
love it. For the record, I love it, but it's also it's funny to hear.
it is. You got that right. All right, so I have one trivia question here for today. Props out to social media. First of all, before we get to it, the basis of it is we play like a Price is Right type game show for those of you kind of just listening for the first time in on this, where our three contestants basically shoot out numbers and we Price is Right it, and whoever gets their number the closest to the actual answer gets the question correct for this week. We have done 5 questions so far. Tied at the top of the leaderboard is Matt and CJ with 2, and then Austin has 1. So plenty of time, or maybe Matt or CJ takes a solo lead. We'll find out right.
What's our timeline with it? Like, how long is this gonna go for?
I was gonna
What's
do
our timeline here. Is it like an 8-week thing?
I was gonna do
like we should do like to the end of fall, maybe like to the beginning of winter, I guess.
I was thinking end of the year. I was thinking
End of the year.
That would work. That'd be like a hard end.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know what the first day of winter is. It's probably the 19th or something.
And then after that we can decide on what happens after that. But anyways, all right. Let me get to the question. All right, everybody ready?
Yep.
So this concerns the tropics in November. Obviously, it's a rare time for Hurricane Raphael to be as strong as it is in the month of November. But there's a reason that hurricane season does include the month of November. It goes until the end of November. My question to you, how many hurricanes that are at least a Cat 2 or higher have gone into the Gulf of Mexico during the month of November? They've gone into the Gulf of Mexico during the month of November as a Cat 2 or higher. How many in history?
In history, okay.
In history. How many ever? In the month of November has a Cat 2 through Cat 5. How many of those have gone into the Gulf of Mexico?
I'm gonna
You
say
know how
4.
many years of records we have, and I've only been around for 28 of them.
Let me also stress that does not include Raphael. Raphael, as of this recording, is still in the Caribbean Sea. That does not include Raphael. Matt is guessing 4. Okay. CJ and Austin. As I said, I cannot confirm or deny.
9.
Austin's going 9. All right. CJ.
I'm gonna guess 12.
12. All right. The correct answer is 3.
Oh.
Matt is correct.
I am once again surprised at how low of a statistic something is.
Right.
The latest one I wrote even down. The latest one was Hurricane Ida back in 2009. There's only one that has happened this entire century. The other 2 happened in the 1900s.
There hasn't been a. What about that year we went into the Greek alphabet? Were all of those Eastern seaboard storms? I guess they were.
I think so, or that, or they didn't go into November.
That's crazy.
We went into December with some of those storms, but
I did hear about that too.
Maybe they weren't Category 3 or higher. Maybe they were lower.
Well, Category 2 or higher, which would include all the major hurricanes.
I don't know.
Well, congratulations,
Oh,
Matt.
9. That's
only
puzzling,
one.
but
Interesting.
Only one since 2000. Yep.
Wow.
All right, now we have a
leader.
A bona fide leader now.
Matt Jones, congratulations. You are the leader of.
Oh, what do I get?
We still.
Oh no, you're just the leader now.
Okay.
You gotta win the race first.
Right.
You can get pride at the end of the day. I don't know.
All right. I mean, that was a total guess. I honestly had no idea. But
hey, I was gonna go 15.
Oh wow.
And
I'm gonna go even
I'm
worse.
thinking, well, in the history of ever,
Right.
it gotta
like
be
18
double
like 1800s.
digits.
How far does history go back for hurricanes, though? Like,
That's another question I'm wondering now. Actually,
That's another trivia question.
I want to say like 1900. I don't know.
you think so? Yeah.
I've dealt with
just like 1850.
I don't think
there's
it
a
was.
bunch of storms that don't have names
yes.
Yeah.
because we weren't naming them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some of them, like there's the Labor Day hurricane and stuff like that. Like,
That was famous
Yeah.
in like the
they get,
1930s, I think.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the one in Galveston, that almost took Galveston off the map. But
I think
now,
that was.
we're just talking about old weather history.
Yeah. We can get into that later. That'd be cool to bring up, especially maybe like wrapping up hurricane season. We'll probably do a Met chat on that actually. Well, once the season finally ends.
December 1st.
Finally. Yes.
Book it.
During
Book it,
Christmas
Vince.
season. During Christmas season. Anyways,
Yeah.
we'll talk to you later.
Already
Thank you
Christmas
very
season.
much. It's Thanksgiving. Okay, that's a talk for that's a talk outside of this. Anyways, we'll see you later. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching the Met Chat. We'll toss it back to me at the desk. See you. Hello, it's me back at the desk. I will talk to you after the break. Stick around. I'll be back. Hello, welcome back. I'm the First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason here at First Alert Weather Breakdown. Hope you enjoyed that meteorologist Met chat there. That was so much fun. There was so much. One of the cool things we have like going together on those kind of chats is like we have a topic and then we expand on that, and then we have a trivia question and we kind of expand on that. Kind of the interactions that we have with all the different guys, especially even after the question, just talking about general weather history and tropics history. Just we blend together. We work well together, so to speak. That's pretty cool to think of. Also, sorry for going a little later. Usually we try to make this episode, every episode, and somewhere around 30 minutes. Oops. It's fine. It's not the end of the world, especially if we have nothing going on the stream at 11 o'clock. But just for time's sake, I don't want to keep you all day long. Severe weather might be necessary, but on a typical day where nothing too crazy is happening, then yeah, we'll let you go at the typical time, 11 o'clock. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I'm always appreciative of all you guys coming on to the Met, coming on this podcast, not just the Met Chat, but coming on the First Alert Weather Breakdown and really watching all of us us do our weather thing, so to speak. All right, let's wrap up this episode. If you have a topic you want us to talk about, we can talk about it on the Met Chat as well. Again, we just talked about how November is usually prone to more cases of severe weather for the Arklatex. If you have another thing or topic or any weather discussion you think would be great to bring to the Met Chat, send us an email, weatherbreakdown at KSLA.com. Or you can message any of us on Facebook. That includes me. My Facebook is meteorologist Evan Thomason. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Yeah, we have weekday streams every morning at 10:30. I wouldn't say every morning, every weekday morning. We are not here on Saturday and Sunday. So yes, that is how we roll around here. You can also send us topics on other things you want us to talk about. We don't have Met Chats every single day. We just do Met Chats once a week when all four of us can get together, which again is a pretty rare time. I work way too early in the morning to tell you. Matt works way too far in the evening to tell you. It's hard when our schedules collide, so to speak. That's the point I'm trying to get at. So they only happen once a week. So if you want a topic to be discussed by just myself, I went over tropics on Wednesday, especially with Hurricane Rafael, which is expected to weaken in the Gulf of Mexico, thankfully. Yeah, we can talk about anything and everything on here. This is a much more of a laid-back weather forecast, so to speak. Just very, very extended. Stuff that goes, again, beyond just your typical news show. I have more time. More time to stall, just like now. All right, stop stalling, Evan. It's past 11 o'clock. All right. Also, witness me calling myself out in third person. Anyways, thank you very much for watching First Alert Weather Breakdown. We got one more episode left in the work week. Tomorrow is Friday, thankfully. Finally. Felt like, again, yesterday should have been Friday or even today. Tomorrow we got one more episode, one more day of the work week for you. On tomorrow's episode, you know what Friday means usually in fall? Sports. Yes, we have the forecast for most of your local Arcotex football teams playing. And I will say, especially because we have rain on Saturday projected. I haven't checked out some of these like specific sports like forecasts, so to speak. But because we have rain on Saturday, especially in the morning hours, a little bit carrying into the afternoon too, some of that could impact some of our local football games this weekend, especially maybe some high school games around here and maybe some local teams playing at home, local college teams, that is. We'll take a look at that forecast in tomorrow's Met Chat during our exclusive content feature. And then, yeah, I will be literally creating the schedule for next week's, all the podcasts on next week's Met Chat tomorrow. So this is now kind of the perfect time to send me a topic to weatherbreakdown@ksla.com or just to message me on Facebook again. Meteorologist Evan Thomason. I have lots of cool content on there as well. Kind of post daily weather things, updates, that kind of thing. You get the point. All right, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. I will see you again on Friday, 10:30. Be there, be square, and be weather aware. And I'll see you tomorrow.